Hello, this is Isabel, and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to show you how to make an accordion album using product packaging. You can use any packaging that is nice and sturdy. I have a hard time throwing away packaging, so I have some stored away to use for later. I have to admit that sometimes later never comes, and when it does, it may be years later. Today is a perfect example of this. I will be using a clear container from a Sizzix die I bought 10,000 years ago. This really will show my age, since I don't think they use this kind of packaging anymore. Before I begin, I wanted to ask if you have not subscribed already. I would love it if you did. It's free and it doesn't take much time. I started making videos in March because of the distance learning. I am a teacher, so it was done out of necessity for my kids. But then I started making videos of crafting, which has been my love since the birth of my oldest son. I am enjoying the process of creating with a specific intent. It does put some pressure on me, but I like it. So please subscribe if you'd like. Let's begin. I start taking measurements to make the accordion from new paper, but then decide to just continue with the recycling and use the instruction booklet as the base. Because of using the booklet, this turns out to be a faster and easier craft project. I'm all for that. My days are moving so fast these days. I begin with applying gesso all over the booklet. I applied with the idea that I do not mind seeing the written text in the background. I then continue with some stamping. I use 2 text stamps for the borders. I then apply some distress ink all over the edges because that's what I do. I can't help it. I always ink the edges. The hard part of beginning an album or journal is choosing the paper. I chose colors that would coordinate with the green stamping and distress ink I used around the edges. I cut the paper to fit each individual square in the accordion. I rounded the edges with my crocodile corner chomper, which I love. It can go through pretty thick cardboard. I then ink the edges, of course. I then just start to decorate each page. I make a flag on this one with a contrasting color. I then move on to the next 2 pages. I'm trying to coordinate each page since the album can be seen all opened at the same time or just flipped from one page to another. I make a slit in one of them so I can insert a quote in it. I hate to measure, but for this I have to since the quote has to fit. By inserting the quote in this slit, this will allow for additional space for a picture or journal tag. On the opposite page, I just add a tab at the top. The next 2 pages I keep plain. The left I keep it with no added paper. On the opposite page I add a scrap of paper that I use a border punch on. I have so many punches that I never use. When I sew the paper I will leave it as a flap so it can be used as a pocket. I'm hoping this can be filled with pictures and journal tags. Anytime you add pictures to a journal or album, it will make the album thicker. It has to fit within the box, so the less embellishments will help to keep it flat. The next page I just make another flag and place it at the top, and the opposite page I leave blank also. The paper is just so pretty already. For the next page I decide to make a flag, but this one I will be adhering at the bottom so a picture or journal tag can be tucked in there. The opposite page I am including another quote, which, like I said, will have the additional space for a picture or journal tag. I now start working on the main page of the accordion album. Well, what I consider the main page. With an accordion album like this, any page can be the main page when it's tucked back into the box. I stamp a pretty image using my Tim Holtz stamping platform. I really like this tool because it allows me to stamp multiple times if my images don't stamp all the way through. I've had stamps for years that I never used because my stamped images were never complete. I would get frustrated and wonder how people stamped perfect images. I'm still not the best stamper, but this platform really helps. I then round the corners and ink the edges. I now begin my title that I will be attaching to a ribbon to go around the whole plastic package. I decide on memories since it's not too specific. I'm not sure if I'm keeping this mini album or gifting it forward. I use a stamp since my handwriting is not the best and I put it aside. I then sew all the paper and its embellishments. I decide not to sew on the album itself since both sides will be used and it would be too hard to sew where I'm not off from one page to the other. That is too much work and I know that I will end up messing it up. Once I sew all the pages, I re-ink all the edges and I commit to placement. I glue using my favorite PVA glue to the album itself. As I'm gluing the pages, I'm re-inking the edges if I have to. I do end up adding embellishments to one page while I'm gluing the pages down. The page felt too plain. I have a basket full of random die cuts. This is the perfect time to dig into that basket for embellishing. The accordion album is looking good to me so far. I ink all around the individual pages to frame the page itself, and so it goes with the inked edges all around the album itself. Now to decorate the packaging itself. I was going to use alcohol inks. I attempted and actually put some ink down, which I won't show you. It was horrible. I admire all those artists that are creating these awesome paintings using alcohol ink. I can't even put ink down and just it looked pretty by itself. So I decide on scrapbook paper. I begin with double-sided paper, but then I saw the glue on the inside. I'm not sure if it would show when dry, so I'm not going to risk it. I end up just putting paper inside and outside the packaging. This part was pretty simple and quick since I can't really embellish this part. I need to leave the space for the pictures and tags. I added ribbon to the title off camera. I originally intended on wrapping the ribbon around the accordion album. I added temporary pictures into the album and it was thicker than I expected. It would be hard to approximate how thick it would end up. The wrap would end up not fitting eventually. So then I decided to wrap the packaging itself with a title. This way it was a set size. I add Velcro to the ribbon and wrap it around the box. I've seen these beautiful snippets that crafters are making that would be perfect for wrapping this box, but I've never done one. I've seen a video on the making of one and maybe I'll get around to making one, but today is not the day. And ta-da! That's it! It came out pretty cute. It was very simple since I used the actual insert in the box, so no measuring and no cutting was involved for the bones of the accordion album. This is such a cute and simple gift to make for yourself, for a friend, or a loved one. For this kind of project, you can use the box from a phone or a watch. Anything that has a lid would be perfect for holding an accordion album. Practically anything that would be the size of an album that you would like. Another thing, you can make the accordion base without using the packaging, but as you saw, this was so easy because the pages did not have to be glued together. The pages were already set for you to begin decorating. So it's your turn. Start thinking of product packaging as a potential keepsake. Some companies spend a lot of money on packaging. Use this to your advantage. Some even come in pretty colors where you would not have to change a thing other than adding a title. And if it comes with instructions, use that as a base for your accordion album. And if you don't want to use the instructions, use it as a ready-made, perfectly sized template. It's all there already for you. I thank you so much for watching. Take care and be safe. Bye.